Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Catherine McKenna is stepping down, or will be stepping down. She's not seeking re-election as MP, and she is also going to, at that time, of course, relinquish her position as Minister of Infrastructure. And she's stating her reason is because she wants to spend more time with her family, her children. One is, when she started this, was a toddler and now heading off to university, and the other, I suppose, is almost old enough to go to high school. So she wants to spend more time with her family, her children. There's the main reasons that she said she is giving up politics. The other reason she said, number two main reason, is because she has done a lot of what she set out to do. And that leaves us with the question of what were her goals as far as climate change and things like that were concerned. What were her goals? Because Canada is still digging the tar sands. Canada is still trying to push a pipeline from Alberta to the coast of British Columbia through near Vancouver. And at a time when we should be looking to get out of fossil fuels and get into more alternative things.
Always fight for what I believe in and leave when I had done what I got into politics to do. I hope when people look at the record I've built over the better part of a decade, that they'll see that I kept my first promise. Most important to me personally, I hope my kids feel that way. Well, I'm here this morning to keep the second one. Over the weekend, I informed the Prime Minister and the President of the Liberal Party that I won't be seeking re-election as a Member of Parliament for Ottawa Centre whenever the election happens. It was a difficult decision, but it's the right one for me and my family, and it's the right time to make it. Like many Canadians, living through COVID-19 over a very long year made me step back and reflect on what matters to me most. It's quite simple. Two things: my kids and climate change. Quand je suis entrée en politique il y a 8 ans, je me suis fait 2 grandes promesses. Toujours me battre pour mes convictions et ne partir quand j'aurais fait ce que j'étais entrée en politique pour accomplir. J'espère que lorsqu'on regardera ce que j'ai construit au cours de presque une décennie, on verra que j'ai rempli ma première promesse. Et ce qui compte le plus pour moi, c'est que mes enfants, eux, le pensent. Je suis ici ce matin pour garder ma seconde promesse. Au cours de la fin de semaine, j'ai informé le Premier ministre et la présidente du Parti libéral de mon intention de ne pas essayer de me faire réélire comme députée d'Ottawa-Centre aux prochaines élections, quelle qu'en soit la date. Ça n'a pas été facile, mais c'est la bonne décision pour moi et pour ma famille, et je la prends au bon moment. Comme nombre de Canadiennes et de Canadiens, cette interminable année de COVID-19 m'a amené à prendre du recul et à réfléchir à ce qui m'importe par-dessus tout. Il y a 2 choses: mes enfants et les changements climatiques. When I first asked the people of our community our awesome community of Ottawa Centre to support me. My kids were 4, 6, and 8. Now my youngest is 12. He's kind of really a teen. And my eldest is off to university in a year. I don't have many years left with them at home, and I want to spend more time with them. They're pretty awesome. And while thankfully we will get out of the pandemic, we still have a climate crisis to fight. This is a critical year for climate action in the most important decade that will decide whether we can save the only planet we have. I want to spend my working hours helping to make sure that we do. When I got into politics in 2013, I was tired of negative and divisive politics, and I wanted to do something meaningful to help solve real problems Canada faced and bring positive change. Within literally a few hours of becoming Canada's first Minister of Environment and Climate Change, I was leading a team working day and night to deliver the Paris Agreement. We then fought long and hard to protect it from Donald Trump. And we fought longer and harder to live up to our commitments right here in Canada. We delivered Canada's first meaningful climate plan and Canada's first price on pollution across the country. It is the law of the land now, backed up by the Supreme Court. 2/3 of the country voted for a candidate that supported it last election, and even former opponents have begun to accept it. For the many people who are understandably cynical about politics, I hope you take that as hard evidence of what's possible. Things can change. Sometimes the biggest of things. And of course there's always more to do, because that is what progressive politics is all about. When I gave the Prime Minister my news, I thanked him for the honor and privilege of being part of the team. I plan to continue in my role for as long as needed, and I also told him I would be happy to support Canada's international leadership on climate to ensure a successful outcome at COP26 in Glasgow. I got into politics because I wanted to help people. It kind of sounds corny and cliched, I know, but I'm still a girl from the Hammer at heart. And the Hamilton my parents raised me in, it taught me that your friends and neighbors matter as much as anyone you'll ever meet. John and Pat McKenna made sure I took that lesson with me wherever I went in life. My father, an immigrant from Ireland, et ma mère, née à Val-d'Or, Quebec, they also reminded me time and time again how fortunate I am to live in Canada. I love you both very much, and I want to thank you for being such awesome human beings. I hope that my community here knows that I've done everything I could to fight for them. I will be forever grateful that you took a chance on me many years ago. Being the first woman elected to represent Ottawa Centre has been the honor of my life. I love our community, and I love the people in it. Okay, now let's make sure Ottawa does become the greenest capital in the world. I put 100% of my heart and soul into this job every day I've done it. I feel proud of what we've accomplished and lucky to have been part of it. From important things for our community, like this great footbridge behind us, and electrifying our entire bus fleet, to essential things for our country and our planet, like leadership in the fight against climate change and building the infrastructure for the future we want. That means historic investments in public transit, in active transportation, in natural infrastructure, and it means embarking on Canada's first national infrastructure assessment. We need to make sure that every decision we make drives us to net zero emissions by 2050. As the late Gord Downey said, he was a committed environmentalist, I'll remind you. There's no dress rehearsal. This is our life. In this spirit, I want to say three things in closing. First, for all the climate change conversations I've had, in all the fancy rooms I've had them in, the most instructive classroom has been in the natural world. If I forget everything else about my life in politics, I'll always remember being out in our amazing nature with incredible Indigenous peoples who generously shared their land and their traditional knowledge with me. Camping out with the Lutzelk'e before we announced Canada's newest national park, Aidanenene, kayaking in Tarirutupamanga with an Inuit elder, canoeing in Guayhanas while a Haida youth drummed and sang, hiking in the inspiring Torngat Mountains with Inuit leader Natan Obed as my guide. These are moments that leave a mark on a person. I'm beyond thankful to the people who have shared their knowledge and their history and wisdom with me. I will carry it forever. Même si j'oubliais tout sur ma vie en politique, je me souviendrai toujours d'avoir été dans notre merveilleuse nature avec des autochtones qui ont si généreusement partagé leurs paysages et leurs savoirs traditionnels avec moi. Ce sont là des moments qui laissent des traces. Je ne pourrai jamais remercier assez ceux et celles qui ont partagé leurs connaissances, leur histoire et leur sagesse avec moi. Ces souvenirs me suivront toute ma vie. Second, I say this to my team and to the many kind people who have reached out about the political environment. And I say it especially to the young girls out there who are thinking about politics and about whether it's for them. Do it! And when you do it, don't be afraid to run like a girl. And I'll be there cheering you on. Every positive lesson you have learned in life will serve you well in politics. But get into politics to do something, not to be something. There's a lot to dislike about this business, but you can make a bigger difference in the lives of more people than you can anywhere else. Pour toutes les petites filles qui songent à la politique et qui se demandent si c'est fait pour elles, lancez-vous. Et lorsque vous le ferez, n'ayez pas peur de courir comme une fille. Je serai là pour vous encourager. Third, and finally, I want to thank you, the many, many people who have supported me and what we are trying to do to build a better country. In my riding, around the cabinet table, in the Liberal Party, and often across the aisle. And I want to thank the many, many public servants who work hard every single day to serve Canadians. It's been amazing working with you. Nobody really knows what it takes to get big things done until you've been part of doing them. I will never forget your support, your friendship, and wisdom. You're all the best. Je tiens à remercier le très grand nombre de personnes qui m'ont appuyé et qui ont soutenu ce que nous essayons de faire pour bâtir un pays meilleur. Dans ma circonscription, autour de la table du cabinet, au sein du Parti libéral, et souvent de l'autre côté de la Chambre. Et je veux remercier les innombrables fonctionnaires qui travaillent d'arrache-pied tous les jours au service des Canadiens et des Canadiennes. Travailler avec vous a été extraordinaire. I'm sure my kids are hiding, but this one is for you. And most of all, I want to thank my kids. I love you. And I couldn't be prouder of you. You have been on this incredible journey with me every single step of the way, on good days and on tougher ones. And you have always reminded me that the decisions we make are about your future and that of your generation. And that means climate and social justice need to be reflected every single time. Thank you. As for me, I'm looking forward to the summer. Lots of time with my kids and all the McKennas. Lots of swimming in the Great Lakes. Lots of writing. And lots of thinking about my next chapter. But I can tell you one thing for sure. I will be 100% focused on climate change. I'm proud of what we've done here in Canada, but there is so much more to do. And I look forward to contributing to the efforts as a mom, as a private citizen, and as a Canadian. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you, Minister. Oh, loud. We will now pass to question period. On va passer maintenant à la période de questions. As usual, one question, one follow-up. Comme d'habitude, une question puis un suivi. And the mic is located right over there. No, it's this one. Right in the middle. Okay, and first question, Mia, go ahead.
Good morning, Mia Rabson from the Canadian Press. I'm just wondering whether you're sending a message that you think it's easier to fight climate change outside this government than from within it.
100% no. I am really, really proud what we've been able to do with the Prime Minister, with our team, with Canadians. We got the first comprehensive climate plan here in Canada, and we're ratcheting it up all the time. We got a first price on pollution, and that wasn't easy. But I was so proud of Canadians. Last election, most Canadians supported a party that supported a price on pollution. As I said, is there more to do? There's always more to do. And that's why I'm a Liberal, because I do believe we can do better. But I just told you the truth. I want to spend more time with my kids. And there are other ways to tackle climate change, but I'm going to be there every step of the way with the Liberal Party, focused on ensuring that Canada does more, and also focusing on the whole world doing more, because we have one planet, and there's no time.
So outside of spending more time with your kids, what do you think you can accomplish outside of government that you couldn't do in the government for climate change?
Well, the good news is I have a summer to think about that. Look, there's lots of things to do. When you look internationally, we have really important negotiations going on for COP26. That has to succeed. We need to drive the investment, the trillions of dollars that will build the economy of the future. We need every country to do what Canada did and get off coal. There's a lot of work to be going around. And we got to support the kids. Because the kids are marching in the streets and they're already taking action. And I don't know what it's going to look like, but don't worry, I will be 100% there, focused on tackling climate change.
David Aiken, Global News. Thank you, Minister, for taking our questions, and congratulations and good luck on whatever's in the future. I wanted to ask this question of you. You are among a group of female politicians in this Parliament that has had to endure some ridiculous abuse, not just on social media, but often from parliamentarians sitting right across from you. I wonder if that played at all a factor. You've been very, I thought, pretty strong in dealing with a lot of that, but did that play a factor? And the next step then, as you speak to particularly younger women who are thinking about getting into politics, what can be done? What can you say to them who just look at your experience and say, I just can't do that?
So, it's funny because I've thought about this a lot. You know, I have had my share of attacks, but I realize that's just noise. That people want you to stop doing what you're doing. They want you to back down. And guess what? We didn't back down on price on pollution. We doubled down. And that's the message. That for all the negativity, there are millions of other people on the other side who've supported me personally, but support politics and support politicians. And that's really my message. But honestly, to the girls, the women, the broader diversity, we need more diversity in politics. It's the only way it is going to change. I say do it. If you feel it in your heart, if you've got something to contribute, if there's something you want to achieve, then get into politics. We need new voices, and we always need to push. I'm leaving because I have other things to do, and I think I've done what I came to do. But this should not be a message about not going into politics. This should be a message, we need more of you in, and I'm creating space for folks to do it.
Thanks. And just to come back, let the applause happen. Go ahead. Just to come back to a bit of Mia's first question there. David Anderson, one of your predecessors, environment minister, once said that it was a tough job being environment minister because you don't have control over program funding, taking Parks Canada aside. And he described his role, he really felt like cabinet's scold. In other words, he had to get the natural resources minister to do X, transport to do Y. But your current job, infrastructure, you had the program funding. I'm the guy that tracks all these spending announcements, and it's been transformative. Getting rid of diesel in First Nations, the bus systems here, that seemed to be a job where you were having an incredible impact on moving the climate change file forward. Can you reflect on the ability of the environment minister to get stuff done and the job you have right now to get stuff done?
Well, first of all, I want to give credit where credit is due. The Prime Minister never saw the environment and the economy at opposite ends of the spectrum. He knew that they're the same. You're not going to have an economy if you don't have a clean environment, if you don't tackle climate change. And you just have to figure out how to make that happen. And look, I think it was pretty good having the environment minister come over to infrastructure. As I said, suddenly I had more money to invest to transition to the economy of the future. And I'm actually really proud about what we were able to do. And a shout out to all the public servants because, you know, we push hard to get things done. But the historic investments we're making in public transit, like I actually hope, you know, I think maybe like 20 years from now, there'll be a dad riding maybe a new, not what was once a new subway line, and his daughter will say, like, how'd this happen? And his dad will be like, well, there was that terrible pandemic. You wouldn't believe it. We were all locked down. Kids didn't go to school. People lost their jobs. But we decided that once we got out of it, we needed to build back better. And we made massive investments in things that changed our lives, but most importantly, that reduced our emissions and tackled climate change. And so, look, I think I'm very fortunate. Politics is not easy, and I think I just have been so honored. And in infrastructure, the first ever natural infrastructure fund, the first ever active transportation fund, the first ever rural transit fund. We're making the investments that we need to make. I'm also doing something that's maybe a little nerdy, but we're going to embark on a national infrastructure assessment because we need to make sure every single decision we make in a very disciplined way, and I mean the country makes, has to drive us to net zero. So it's been, you know what, it's been pretty awesome, and I learned that all that matters is you reduce your emissions and you build resilience, and so that keeps you focused on outcomes.
Hi, Minister Marika Welsh with the Globe and Mail. You mentioned in your opening speech that you had offered your help to the Prime Minister at the next COP meetings. Can you just elaborate what that means, what role you envision yourself having?
I'm happy to help in any way. I've always said that. You know what? There's more than enough work to go around. That's really up to the Prime Minister and Minister Wilkinson, who I've worked really closely with. They've got a great team, but if there's anything I can do, I am happy to do that.
And is your message to the Prime Minister right now that you would have stayed in politics had he not moved you out of environment?
100% no. My message is that I decided that I've done what I've come to do. And I really want to spend time with my kids. And I really have other ways that I think I want to tackle climate change. I was ready for a change. And infrastructure was awesome. But, you know, I think it's sometimes strange. Some people wonder, like, why would anyone leave politics? But I said I would leave when I felt I'd done what I come to do, and I really feel that. I actually feel pretty zen. I feel pretty happy. I feel pretty excited for the next chapter. And I'll always be a Liberal. I'll always work to do better, but you can do that inside and you can do that outside. And I'll say that because I look at a bunch of volunteers in my team. They never ran for politics, but they supported me. And they made change, and they really were awesome. So there's many ways to serve, and I will continue serving just in a different way.
Hi, Minister. Chris Nardi from the National Post. First question: you mentioned you took the time I saw in the mention in your speech to emphasize some things that happened here in Ottawa, some investments that were made in Ottawa. Are you thinking at all about running in the mayor election in 2022?
Jim Watson, I'm not running in the election in the next mayoral election or ever. No. Hopefully that's definitive. That's not even possible.
That was clear, thank you. And in terms, there's a lot of speculation that Mark Carney has been looking for a riding here in Ottawa to run. He's looking at yours. Was there any pressure on you to leave to create space for Mark Carney, or anything that would allow him to come in and be parachuted here?
No. Look, I told you why I'm leaving. I'm leaving because I have other things to do. But on Mark Carney, I've been telling him for years he should get into politics. Mark Carney is a good friend of mine. I think he can make a big difference. The economy and climate are critically important, and they're actually intertwined. So he has a lot to add, but that's really a decision for him to make with his family.
Est-ce que c'est possible de répéter en français par rapport à Mark Carney, s'il vous plaît?
OK. Alors, la décision aujourd'hui, c'est la mienne. Je vais être vraiment claire. Moi, j'ai décidé que j'ai fait ce que je voulais accomplir ici et je veux prendre plus de temps avec mes enfants. Je vais faire plus de temps attaquer au changement climatique, hors de la politique. Mais sur le sujet de Mark Carney, alors moi, c'est un grand ami. Moi, j'ai toujours dit à Mark Carney, ça fait des ans qu'il devrait entrer dans la politique. Il a beaucoup à contribuer. Il connaît l'économie comme personne d'autre et il connaît les changements climatiques et c'est vraiment la même chose. Mais vraiment, c'est une décision pour lui à faire avec sa famille.
Good morning, Minister Rafi Buchanan, CBC News. By the time you switched from environment to infrastructure in 2019, you had already laid a lot of the groundwork for the climate change plan, and you had also already dealt with a lot of the hateful and misogynistic stuff that my colleague David Aiken was referring to. Can you reflect on what kind of support you think you got from the government in doing your work, and what kind of credit you got for it as well?
I didn't get into politics to get credit. I got into politics to do something. But look, I got lots of credit. And the thing that I value the most is we actually did something. In terms of, the hate and the attacks, we'll say one other thing. I will do everything to fight that. Why? I'm gone. But I want girls. I want members of the Indigenous community, Indigenous peoples, Black Canadians. I want new immigrants. I want members of the LGBTQ2+ community to feel safe in politics. And we heard that that's not always the case. So I think it's incumbent on someone like me, because I kind of don't care anymore, I will fight that. Because we need good people in politics. Politics matters. And and once again, to the girls out there, go run like a girl. Do it on your own terms. You can do that, and I honestly will be cheering and supporting you all the way.
So it almost seems like you think you have more freedom to fight that now than you did when you were in government. Why is that?
Oh, I think I called it out in government too. I just didn't make it an everyday thing. Maybe I have more time. Look, I called it out when I thought it was appropriate to call it out, and I think actually I did learn one lesson. I waited a long time, because it kind of bugged me. I think David Aiken was there when it happened. And I just decided that it wasn't okay, and I decided to say so. And what really was amazing is the outpouring from Canadians, because they got recognized. It's not okay. It's not okay to belittle or bully or do personal attacks. Canadians don't want that. And so let's keep it that way, because we saw what that can look like. And it happens here too. We've seen Islamophobia. We've seen anti-Semitism. We've seen racism against Indigenous peoples and beyond. We're better than that. And that's something we're fighting for, that's for sure.
Bonjour Mme McKenna, Ismaël ici, Radio-Canada. Je me demandais par rapport aux événements plus tristes que vous avez vécus dans les dernières années, là, votre bureau de vote qui avait été endommagé, les menaces que vous avez reçues sur les médias sociaux, les insultes en personne, à quel point est-ce que ça a joué un rôle dans votre décision aujourd'hui?
Ça fait aucun rôle. Moi, j'ai décidé vraiment, ça c'est seulement du bruit. Il y a des gens qui veulent qu'on ne fait pas les grandes choses qu'on veut faire. Alors, moi, j'ai décidé on va travailler plus fort, mais je pense que c'est pas acceptable. Alors, on doit arrêter ça. Et je pense que les Canadiens, ils sont très conscients. Ils m'ont vraiment supporté. Mais on a des enjeux ici aussi. Oui, la haine, c'est une chose. L'islamophobie, antisémitisme. Comment on regarde la communauté LGBTQ+. Les peuples autochtones. On a du travail à faire ici, mais moi j'ai du confiance aux Canadiens, mais ça fait pas partie de ma décision. Je vais continuer de lutter contre la haine et les attaques personnelles dans la politique parce que c'est important.
Est-ce que la décision que vous prenez aujourd'hui en est une définitive ou peut-être que plus tard, quand vos enfants seront un peu plus vieux, vous êtes ouverte à un retour en politique?
Qu'est-ce que je veux faire? Je vais aller à Hamilton voir mes parents. Ça fait plus d'un an que je ne les ai pas vus et c'est ça.
Hi, Minister. David Reevely from The Logic. I'm wondering if you could share your insights as Infrastructure Minister into why it seems so difficult to spend billions of dollars to build and fix stuff in this country. The government is not on track to meet its long-term commitments on that spending. Why is it so hard?
So actually, I might direct you to an announcement we made on Friday. We've been totally transparent on all of the projects in my department. In the pandemic alone, if you look at just the agreements with provinces and territories, and we rely on them actually to bring us projects, so sometimes it's a bit slow, but we've approved more than 3,500 projects worth $10 billion. We created a whole new program for rapid transit, and we announced 5 major projects in the GTHA area. We're making the investments we need to do, but I mean, is there more to do? 100%. But we also need to make sure we get outcomes, and I think that's really important. I've said every taxpayer dollar needs to get multiple outcomes. Maybe because I'm a mom, very conscious of money, and that means we need to
Thank you for listening today, and thank you for supporting us with our sponsors. Please go to depictions.media for more information and click on our contact link and let us know how we can help bring your story and help bring us to a better world. This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.